Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Let's Glow Show. It's Amanda Sweet, the Creative Fairy Godmother, and we're back with another super dope entrepreneur and creative. This week is just like any other, an amazing human with an amazing backstory and amazing work to show for it. We got Tiffany Wisnieski here.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome, welcome. She's the founder of Twiz Creative and an amazing human, just super active all over. I'm so grateful you're here, Tiffany. Thank you for coming.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Amanda. I'm super excited to
Yeah.
be here.
Yay. Well, loving the blondes. It's a new do and I'm loving it.
New look,
When
new
I
look for 2024.
It's so good. When I first met you, you had like short, I feel like you had short hair like me, like a pixie cut. And I don't know
Yes.
if I feel like I've told you this, but I remember meeting you and being like, she's so cool. I like that. When will she
Yeah.
come back? She should come
Yeah.
back.
It was a while ago when I walked into Bamboo, and yeah, I did have like a pixie cut, short hair, and
I love
I
it.
miss the short hair is fun. It's
It's
just
fun.
it's you have a lot of freedom with the short hair, less time to get it ready. Like, yeah, so I wouldn't be
Mhm.
surprised if I chop it off, sometime this year or next year. Well, we'll see.
We'll do a little shave party. Sounds like fun.
Ooh, oh yes.
So tell everybody what you do. I know you do a whole lot of artistic, creative things, and I know that you're transitioning some of your business into an interesting direction. So I want you to set the stage for us.
Yes. So my name is Tiffany Wisnieski. I'm the founder of Twiz Creative, like Amanda mentioned. So what we do is digital marketing with a focus on social media strategy, content creation, and branding. So you think about brand identity design, logo, everything from patterns, fonts, colors, mission statements, anything that makes a brand relatable to an audience is what Twiz Creative works on. So it's kind of taken and evolved a few different directions in the past 3 years. We started up in 2020, and I kind of landed on this industry with the client that I currently work with. It's a lighting rep agency. So they represent commercial lighting brands and lines. And I just found lighting to be super interesting. A lot of different things you can talk about and explain. Um, and currently, the lighting industry doesn't do a very good job collectively with their digital presence, their
Mm.
websites, their social media content. Everything's just kind of monotone and not really there. So I
Like
found,
on or off, like a
yeah,
light.
it's just kind of, they're not taking advantage, and they're not taking social media seriously. And a lot of companies don't.
Right.
They hand it off to an intern who hasn't been trained yet, or an admin person who doesn't have a marketing degree or ad or design or nothing. And because it's accessible to everybody, social media, people think that, oh, anybody can just do it and it'll be effective. And yes, people
Hmm.
can do it, but
Hmm.
is it going to have the strategy? Is it going to work hard for the company? Is it going to represent the brand correctly? I don't know. Maybe not.
Right. Right.
so so I think the lighting industry in particular has a huge opportunity to build out, and I want to be kind of at the forefront of that
Mm.
and start to own that space and kind of claim it. So this year is the year for that. I've got
The
some
year of the lightning.
conferences lined up in New York. Um,
Ooh.
I submitted for a lecture at this New York conference in August, that's
Okay.
talking about the importance of talking about light online to spread the word, to get the message out, to attract
Mhm.
the right people. Um,
Right.
so I don't know. We'll see. I submitted it a
Yeah.
few weeks ago, and I haven't heard back yet. But we'll
It
see.
takes
So
time. It takes
I'm
time.
feeling it. I'm not
I
gonna
feel
want
it
it too
for
hard,
you.
but
But we're manifesting it. We're manifesting it, and
yes.
if not that, then the next thing, And like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just wondering, were you expecting to get into the lighting industry? Was it like you're like, okay, that's a niche that needs my support. We're going that direction, or was it like guided to you and you were like, oh crap, everybody sucks? Not sucks, but like everybody's lacking in this department in this industry. Like, how did you so finally like pick lighting?
It's just, I think as a business owner, what I've learned is you have to be open to every possibility, every niche, every industry. People are like, oh, what am I going to niche into? And you don't have to like, I mean, you could consciously choose it, but if you just are open to the different opportunities that are coming out, as you know, you can see it. So I just, this client came to me, through the grapevine. It's crazy how things start happening once you start really putting yourself out there. And I've been working with them for now over 2 years, and just learning about the industry. It's so interesting, going to their events, joining their organizations. And I caught an interest in it personally. And then just seeing all the opportunity in it, I'm like, why don't I just focus on this? Because it's easier to grow a business if you have a focus, in my opinion. It's just, I was kind of all over the place, all these different industries. So if we can just own this space and really dive into lighting, I think Twiz Creative can really, stand out in that way too.
What has that transition been like for you as a business owner? So you were like all over the place, you were taking anyone and everything, and now you're focusing more and more on light. Like, what has that done for your business on the back end and the front end? Like, what does it feel like?
It feels like a transition. It feels a little wavy at the moment. I still do take care of clients that are in the medical industry, that are in the, community building industry.
We'll talk about that.
Right. Right. And it's fun, and it's, and it's still serving, the company, and I still enjoy it, and I'm able to, start building a team and bringing other people on. But yeah, it's a weird transition. It, definitely scares me at some times, like, oh, am I going to, point myself in a direction and never be able to get out? But I know by this time in my life that I am adaptable. I'm a pivoter. Like, anything that doesn't end up working out, you can always do something else. Like, there's so many ideas. And I know that you're the same way with all these different like business ventures and event ideas. And it's, we just can't be afraid to take that leap into something. Like, we know it's a calculated risk too. Like, we, I mean me. Like, I know it's a calculated risk, so there's no need to fear it. So I think I just feel like I'm giving it up to the universe and faith and jumping in. So it's a little wonky feeling, but it's good at the same time.
But I see you showing up on social and at events, like saying and talking about the lighting industry. And I feel like it's just that one right person in that one right room that's going to be like, oh yeah, we've been watching your videos. We're going to, and things like that take time, but I feel like it's coming for you. It's coming. And you're so amazing at your work. Like, let's just talk about your work a little bit, because I saw your work from the Passion to Purpose conference, which from the previous 2 episodes, Angela and Tay were both putting together, and you had a hand in some of the Passion to Purpose conference execution. So you did all the branding and marketing for them, or tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. Tay and Angela, they are the best, and they have so much energy and passion in themselves. So the fact that they're creating this community it makes perfect sense. And I know this is something that they both had wanted for so long. And they were like, hey, we really want this visual of the community Passion to Purpose to pop. We want it to feel passionate. We want it to have legs and be able to grow. So we met and talked about the brand, pulled out all those different passionate elements, and we just got to designing. And I think, it was just a really quick process. And they were like, yes, we love all of them, but we love this one in particular. Let's build upon it. And it was, just like I handed over the logo, the different logo styles, the colors, a few graphic elements and examples. And then Tay and Ange took it from there, and they built it out. They did workbooks, presentations, social posts. They, were able to take it and run with it. So they did an amazing job putting that together.
Yay. And then when I saw it and then found out it was you, I was like, well, duh, I got to hire you. Like, let's go. So we were at the conference and I don't remember who told me, but I think it was Angela. She was just like, yeah, Tiffany did this and da 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 da. And, we started talking about it. I was like, oh my God, I need to hire Tiffany because I've been racking my brain these last couple months, like feeling like I don't have an official brand. Like I'm doing all this stuff. I have like a logo. Like I've had a couple people make me logos in the past, and I've like for a long time I was just using my signature that my brother like I literally took a picture of a Sharpie execution of my signature. My brother turned it into a vector file on Photoshop, and I was using that for the longest, and I just never felt connected to my logo. And so it was in my brain and in my energy this past year. I was like, I need to like amp up the branding. Like I don't have anything. It doesn't feel official. Like all of my events have them, but I don't have one. And so I was like, duh, like it's Tiffany, let's go. And from the first meeting, I was just like, okay, this feels right. This is so easy.
Yeah, it was super easy to connect with you from the jump. And when you are working with a creative, as we like to call it, the Creative Fairy Godmother, with a creative person, it takes the work to the next level because you know that they have so much, so many ideas and so much feeling that needs to be created with this logo, more than a corporate client would have, or a medical client. It's a different feeling. So when we were talking about it, I'm like, wow, this project is going to challenge me because I'm coming from, I went to art school, but I'm coming from corporate agency world, and then technical and but there's some fun stuff for sure. But then you have like my medical clients, everything is very clean. It's, it has to be a certain way. And I'm like, well, this logo is definitely different from, my typical thing.
Right.
And, but it was fun. I got to like,
glad.
You saw some of my sketches. Like I got to take my sketch pad out. I had like my tracing paper. So I like got back to my, art school roots for this one. And it was just fun. We got to do some custom like typography.
So cool.
It was fun. I'm excited for you to build that out and see
do
what
like
that
a big launch. We started sneaking it out. We started sneaking it out on the Let's Glow show flyer. So when you see Amanda Sweet on there, that's Tiffany. But like I remember like when we were first talking, and then every single conversation after that, I knew I didn't have the technical words for the feeling, but you understood me. I was like, I want it to feel magical. I also wanted to feel like plus size, which is like a very weird request. Like, how do you make a graphic look magical and plus size and not like cheesy and, still like serious and sophisticated, but like sassy and fun and energetic? And you were just like, you were taking it all in. And I'm saying all these like emotional words that are like not design words. I'm like, can we make this A look a little bit more like thick? Like, give us some, like, like, can we give this like S a little bit more like curves? And can we give this a little bit more like, and you were like, yeah, sure, we could do that. And like, you would come back and hear all the words and put them on a piece of paper with a logo, like in a word. And I'm like, how'd she do that? I was like, I hope I'm not like driving her crazy. I'm not like over here like wishing for the unthinkable, like, can you make this feel like, I don't know, magic?
Nothing is impossible when it comes to art and design. Art and design is all about feeling. And that's why I said, like, hey, if this is not giving you that feeling, then it's not there. Because you were like, oh, well, maybe it's working, maybe it's not. And it's like, nope. I already knew. I was like, that's a no. If it's not a hell yes, then it's a hell no. And,
exactly.
And that's, I mean, with a grain of salt, but like, there was definitely more work to be done, and I knew we had to get it right. Like it had to be right. So I'm happy at how it turned out, and I'm excited.
I love it. I can't wait to like do like a full launch of it and just really put it out there and just, I don't know. I want to just post like the whole deck you gave me. I know that's not like, but it was such a cool experience. Like I've never gone through an experience like that where we did the whole build out, like start to finish. You presented it so beautifully. Like I remember Labrie looking at it and he's like, I really like this page. I was like, oh, this is just like your landing page. Like, he's like, oh, I like it. Like everything down to like the clouds and like, I don't know, like you just made it feel so fun. You put it in the wild. Like that for me was like everything. You're like logos used in the wild and you got like conferences. You're like, welcome to the confidence workshop. And you got me thinking about some of the things I should be doing and want to do and should be executing and working on and how I can utilize this brand and like help me really visualize myself as a professional in the space that I am in. And leaning into that even more. Like you said, you were talking about how the niches kind of find you. They kind of like unveil in front of you. Like every step is like another step closer to the niche, you know? And obviously it's like speaking and community building and plus size energy and body confidence. And it's like all of that stuff. I wasn't like seeking that out, but seeing you build the visual of the brand and seeing it in the wild with like confidence workshop and like and you put it with the revamp logo and you did all this beautiful stuff. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I'm doing stuff.
Yeah, girl. and you're already doing all of that, you know, it's just like, now you can see it with this fully baked out brand. And I think that's one of the most important things when designing a logo is to put it in what we call in situ, right? In situation. I like to call it in the wild because it's just more fun.
Yeah, it's cute.
But yeah. And it makes sense. And it's just like, if you don't do that, if you don't put the brand in certain situations and then, you know, it comes to that time where it needs to be there and it don't fit, it don't look right, or you don't have the assets, then you're either stuck and you end up coming up with something that doesn't fit, or you got to go back to the designer and there's friction and like, oh, well, I need this and it's just like, it's the most important part of the whole logo process is seeing those things in the wild. What do they look like? And if they don't look right, then it's out.
Right. It definitely was inspiring because you had it like on the back of a t-shirt. I was like, I like that. That's cute. I'm going to get me one of those.
Right. Because you had talked about like, oh, I want this like badge on a letterhead, like, you know, a jacket and all these things and a sticker. And it's just like, yeah, we got to bring this to life. You got to be able to see it to fully believe it.
It was beautiful. It really inspired me, like just as a creative person and as a business owner, I'm like, oh, I get to do this stuff. And now like, I can't say that the branding is that I don't have the branding to do it because I got it and it's fucking fire.
You got it. Yay.
It's so good. I love it so much. Okay. So I found you by chance, like all of our social circles were bumping into each other, but like for someone who's building a brand that needs like a really good logo, how do you find the right designer for you?
Oh man. I think it comes down to meeting people and talking. I also think, you know, with social media, there's so many different designers out there who have great social presence, who have, you know, their work and their portfolios. Basically, that's what their, you know, Instagram is. So it's so easy to see, like, you really want to look at the work. Like if you choose a videographer, a photographer, a designer, whatever you're working with, if they don't have the style that you want, you can't expect them to create it, you know, just because you like them or just because, you know, maybe their price point is correct. If they don't have what you have in mind, then it's not going to be a good fit. So like you have to have some type of idea of what you want. Some people don't know at all. Right. So if they don't know at all, my biggest piece of advice would be somebody with portfolio that is wide, like that has multiple different styles, where you could, you know, maybe see different options. Like this is how it looks like in a more traditional sense. Here's what it looks like in a bold and sassy sense. Here's what it looks like in a vintage sense, you know, like whatever, you know, you're looking to go for. But a designer, a brand designer really needs to pull out that feel of the company or the brand or the personal entrepreneur, the solo entrepreneur, before they design anything. Like what's the personality of either that person or the company? And then they should be able to recommend you need a bold and, you know, sassy look. You need a
Right.
vintage look, whatever is going to attract your ideal customer and
Mm-hmm.
reflect you as a brand. It's got to meet, has to meet up,
Right.
and it has to work in that way. And I remember when working with you, you're like, you know, I don't really want to do stuffy corporate events and
Mm-hmm.
hosting and lectures. I want to attract those people that are fun and bold and allow me to be myself. And so,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that's why the logo looks the way that it does, because we're not
Right.
attracting, you know, certain things. So it doesn't need to be stuffy and, you know, all like angular. So yeah, I would say definitely do your research on the designers, meet with them either Zoom or in person to get a sense of their personality, and make sure that they interview you.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just start a logo, you know, based on
Right.
a few bullet points. Never do that. Like talk to the person at least a half an hour.
Right. Like, do we like each other? Is this gonna work? It's gonna be a good working
Mhm.
relationship. Like, we had a long, like, 1 hour session before we even
Yeah.
started anything. You were like catching the vibe, you're like, you know, sketching while we were talking and like building stuff out, and we were getting a feel for each other. I mean, we already knew we liked each other because we already had rapport, but it was like, okay, does this feel like the right fit for us? And do we
Mhm.
want to do this the next however many months it took us to do it, you know, like 3 months or however long.
Yeah.
But that's so real. I am wondering for our like new designers out there, like how do you find clients? Like how do you like get to the point where you're like, okay, I'm not doing any more free work. I'm charging for my worth and like locking in clients. It seems like you're constantly like have a rotation of work and you're hiring people and doing all this beautiful stuff. Like how do you go from art school student to brand agency owner?
I
That's a
think
big
there was
jump
a
on
there was a lot of years in between those things.
Yeah, yeah.
And I definitely like I had, you know, I worked at Campbell Ewald downtown, which is one of the oldest advertising. It is the oldest advertising agency in Detroit. It might be one of the oldest in the country. It's like over 100 and, you know, 14, 15. I don't know. It might be even older now,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
that reputation in starting my career off there was awesome.
Yeah.
The people that I met, my creative directors that I had, you know, you just learn so much and you gain that network. And make sure you follow everybody on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
You know, because as you move and leave, I feel
Yeah.
like it's rare that creatives and especially designers and people in advertising, they don't stay put, you know, for an extended amount of time. Some do, but they're jumping around because the opportunities are so vast and there's so many different brands to work with. And it's, so I just met a lot of people and had a lot of experience on a lot of different projects. And by the time Twiz Creative came, I already had that network. And so when people knew that, you know, I was going out and starting something on my own, they were reaching out. Hey, I have a client that needs this, or, you know, referring me to somebody else. And it just kind of snowballed.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think another biggest thing is make sure your portfolio is digital and online and accessible and that it's updated, because your best work needs to be visual. And
Yeah.
only put the best stuff. Like if it's
Okay.
something from like a few years ago that ain't really cutting it, it
Right.
needs to be out. It needs to
Right.
be out of the portfolio, and new stuff needs to be in. So I think that's like the primary thing for new designers. And then, you know, picking a social media platform of your choice, depending on like who your ideal client is. I have a friend who is a photographer, and her ideal client is solo female entrepreneurs in the creative and spiritual space. So that's, you know,
They're on
narrow.
Instagram.
They're on Instagram, and she's
Right.
on Instagram. That's what she
Yes.
focuses on.
Right.
And it's
Right.
like, you have to know where these people are and then learn a platform, put your work out there, you know, show your face if you can. If not, you know, focus it on the work, and people will come. I think being out in person too, like you are in the community at, you know, chamber events, at different creative events, it just helps you be seen. It helps you, you know, people see that you're alive and you're doing things and you're passionate. And you're out here, you're not just, sitting waiting for things to come to you, you're making it happen. And I think that that's attractive to potential clients, no matter what industry or who they are. So get yourself out there.
Get out there. And you're getting out there in some interesting ways, Miss President.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that title.
Yeah, so the Business Women's Network is a section of the Royal Oak Chamber of Commerce, and that's how I was actually introduced to the Royal Oak Chamber, was through this BWN, Business Women's Network event. That was a couple of years ago at a Woodward Corner, the grocery store, the Meyer grocery store over there. And it was a women's history event. So there was a few different women speakers who, either had products in the store. They talked about their brand journey, their struggles, their trials, tribulations. And it was just like, it was so inspiring to me at that time, where I was like, I don't know what I was, I didn't really know what I was doing yet. And it just caught my attention. And so I joined the chamber after that. And then Vani, who was the president of BWN for years, she, started to invite me to the BWN events, pull me in. And then she's like, hey, anybody interested in being on the board, let me know.
Yeah.
And somebody kind of like nudged me, and I'm like, what, what? Like, oh, you need to be over there. And so I started talking with her, and we met for lunch, and she's like, I want you to be the president now. And I'm like, I thought I was just going to help, maybe with some marketing efforts. I don't know.
Right.
She's like, you're the one.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. And when someone like that, gives that opportunity to you, I mean, I could have said no, but it's such a special thing, and an amazing opportunity, and such an honor coming from her, personally. And so, she kind of took me under her wing, started going to the board meetings. And then, this past year has been so much fun, 2023, and just building the board up, bringing more people, more women onto the board, doing more inclusive events, having more interesting conversations, and just having a space for women to connect. It's been great for me. From a leadership standpoint, right? Like, I've never been on a board, nor have I been a president of a board, So
I had no idea that you didn't have, like, you were just like thrusted into the position. Like, what was that like? Like, being from like going like 0 to 1,000, literally.
It was fine. I think there could be a lot of like hesitation. And I think in that hesitation, people get annoyed, right? Like, with a leader, they either want you to step all the way up or to just back away,
step aside,
step aside. And this organization has been around for a while. So, and it's just like, you just got to jump in. And everybody was so welcoming, they welcomed the change. So, I didn't really have a hard time, in that sense. Like, they weren't giving me a hard time. It was just good. Like, there's something new that you're, not used to doing. Doesn't mean you're imposter, just means you're new. Right. So you just do the best that you can, and make sure the intentions are correct, and that they're following like pretty much a brand guideline, right? Like, this is the brand of the organization. This is our mission statement, what we're here to do. And as long as everything you do lines up with that, then you can't really go wrong. Yeah.
I love it. So, what has that been like for your business? Like, being the president of a board and also being the owner of Twiz Creative?
I think it definitely gives more credibility, to my expertise, to who I am as a person. I think it adds a level of trust for people. And it's giving me a sense of community too. As I grow my business, we're small, and as we grow bigger, it's just nice to have that sense of community, different women around me who have done similar things. It's helped give me a support system, I would say, is the biggest part.
So good. What advice do you have for young people that are like thinking about being on boards? Because I have a couple board positions, and actually yesterday I was talking to a friend of mine. It was JB. I was talking to JB, and he was kind of mentioning how him and a few of his friends are talking about board positions and stepping up in leadership roles in the community. And I say all for it, because a lot of board positions are very like low impact, like a meeting once a quarter or something like that, where you are connecting with people and investing those meeting hours into that organization. Very low level lift, but some of them are a lot more engaged. Like a presidency seems like it has a lot more than just one meeting a quarter. But what advice do you have for young people that are like, I'm thinking about it, maybe not?
Yeah, I think if you're thinking about a board, then like find somebody that's on it, have some conversations, take them out for a coffee, something simple, jump on a call and just ask all the questions. And maybe they'll even take you under their wing and invite you to a meeting, show you how things, go. That's what I feel like should happen.
Right.
And if it's a good fit, then it's a good fit. Like, it's absolutely an amazing thing to put on your resume, to have on your LinkedIn, and just the opportunity, to show that it's basically like it's an extracurricular activity. So if you put it into the sense of school, high school, college, this is the next level.
The next iteration of that.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. I love that. It's like you have your sports activities, you have your like civic activities, you have your like creative activities, and then you have your school work, which is your regular work. And it seems like it could be a lot, but I feel like, you get to choose your boundaries. You get to pick and choose like how much you invest your time into your extracurricular activities, and some get more priority than others. But I always think it's valuable to have those things happening, because especially as a business owner, like you never know who's going to come to a BWN meeting. It could be your next biggest client, and like they just walk into the room, they're coming for this free event, and next thing you know, you guys are signing a contract, and because you were in the right place at the right time. And not that it was the right place at the right time, but you were showing up and you're there and you're available. Like it's not about, I don't know. I feel like luck is like just practiced. Luck is practice. It's presence, it's practice, it's preparation. Like you're ready to go, you're there, you're talking to somebody and they ask, and that they have a need, you can deliver, and it's like, boom, that's luck. It just, I don't know. So I totally believe in the board positions and extracurricular activities. I like that.
Yeah. Just something that you could be passionate about, choosing something that makes sense for you, and understanding how you want it to benefit you. Like what do you want to get out of this? Because if you're not clear, then it's going to be tough, or you're going to be met with, this internal brain conversation happening. Like, oh, why am I doing this? Why am I spending my time? Oh, I could be doing this instead. It's like, well, I'm doing this because I'm passionate about it, or because I'm helping somebody who I love, or, whatever that thing is. But yeah, have some passion to purpose.
Right.
Little plug in there.
And it doesn't
behind
have to
something
be forever. It doesn't have to be forever either. Like, I feel like we get in this, and I see this with like a lot of my fellow millennials and maybe younger, like if they make a decision, it's a forever decision. It's like, no, like you decide to go in the lighting route for now, and you're going to do it until it doesn't work. And Lord willing, it works for as long as it needs to work. And then you're going to make a switch. You're going to be like, okay, well, now we're into shadows. We're going to be into darkness now instead of lighting. Like, we're going to be into like the calmness of shadow. Who knows? But like all that to say, like your decision doesn't have to be forever. It just has to be for right now. And as long as it works for you. And then when it doesn't, it's time to make a change. And same thing with the board positions. Like those can go on. You could be on a board for a long time, but that doesn't mean you have to be on the board for forever,
Yeah.
But they're fun.
Yeah. I mean, why not? Give it a shot.
Exactly. Give it a shot. Give it a shot. What else are you into these days? What else is going on in your world? So you got your lighting, you got your presidency, which is a lot. It's a lot. But what else is cooking in your back pocket?
Oh my gosh. So I've really been trying to pick up painting again, and portrait painting. And so I've been working on a couple different, paintings. I do acrylic on wood. And just making that switch of, I got to do this so, I have something to show, or I got to do this for a commission, changing that to just, I want to just do art just for the sake of doing art, because it refreshes your mind. It calms your nervous system. It just has so many different benefits. And just to create for the sake of creating without expectation, without, money, capital attached to it. So yeah, just trying to spend some time doing that and creating and see what happens out of that. I think that there's a lot in the art world that I'm going to be moving towards in 2024 and then beyond. So? I think so. I think that
Tell me what that means.
I think there's some events that are going to happen around art and design and just artists in general. I think there's some spaces that need to be created and held for people to create. And so, I know that you're like right there with me.
I'm right there with you.
Like I'm excited to be at the revamp in February and experience that for the first time and be around artists and, fashionistas. And just, I think it's going to be so much fun. So I really want to explore art, more in museums and just be surrounded by things that inspire me. So, I mean, other than that, I really want to focus on like public speaking, doing workshops, doing lectures, kind of pushing myself and my personal brand along with Twiz in that direction. And, just being more comfortable with my expertise and my authority and speaking on it. I just feel like, it's so easy to get inside and just be on the computer and just be going away at things. But, you have a presence and you can hold that space and create anything you want and share that with people. And I think that that's something, that is going to be focused on for sure this year. So.
I see it. I see it coming. I see the creative stuff coming. Like we had a beautiful, I'm going to call it a power couple supper club with you and your partner, me and Labrie. We went to your place. We saw the art. You guys come to our place. Showed off all our artsy things. And like, I just feel like there's like this pulse and energy around like creativity, and not just like exactly like you said, creativity without an end result. Like I feel like so much of us have been pushed to like, what is the end result? How much are you going to charge for this? Are you going to put it up on Etsy? Are you going to do an art show? Are you going to do this? Are you going to do that? And it's like, where did the just like creating to create go? I did the same thing. I was like, okay, well, now I'm learning how to sew. So now I got to host an event. We're going to do the So Cute craft night, which was great. It was so fun. It served its purpose. But also I was like, I was not able to sew while I was hosting So Cute craft night, which was the whole reason for me to do it. So it kind of sucked a little bit of that energy away, where it was like, no, I just need to create the things that feel good. I need to do the art. I need to do it without any expectation of like monetary value or praise or recognition or whatever the case may be. It's not going to be my next big break. It's for me to take a break and relax into the artwork and learn about my brain and all of that good stuff. So I feel like there's a really big need there where people are like needing another outlet that doesn't result in money exchange, Yeah.
Like it could just be for your own happiness. And I think millennials have a hard time in doing that because, we're always trying to figure out how to monetize something and make money. And the side hustle culture is huge, and it's just, it can be exhausting, so that your body's never really resting. Your brain's never really resting. And if you're a business owner and a creative person, you have to bake in those times where you're intentionally resting. Like, and it's and it is like, it's your body restoring, and your body's got to do the work it needs to do. So like, that's why I'm always telling people, like, go to bed, like drink some chamomile tea, like do a meditation, like set your body so that you can rest and do the things that, bring you that little bit of happiness, so you can recharge to do the other things. And it's a balance that I feel like there is no balance, like with life. Like everything is is always moving and ebbing and flowing. Priorities are going to be over here sometimes, and these things, you know, might not be as important at the moment, but they're always there, and you just have, it just ebbs and flows, and I'm just trying to ride the waves with it.
I love it. I've been saying that for a long time. Like, I don't believe in balance. I feel like it's an unattainable
Yeah.
goal. It's like perfection. Like, nothing is going to be perfectly balanced. Nothing is going to be perfect. Somebody told me once in the past that perfectionism is a disease that's unattainable. They're like constantly seeking this thing that doesn't really exist. And I feel the same way about balance. I'm like, there's never going to be a time where everything is perfectly in balance. There's always going to be something that's going to take precedent at the moment, and it's going to come and go. And I feel like the better you can be like water, I say this too, like, be like water, go with the flow, but also like
Mm-hmm.
direct the flow. You are a current, you are a life-giving source, you are a life-ending source. You can be solid, you can be liquid, you can be gas, you could be there, you could not be there, but you get to decide. You're in control, you know? And that's not a bad thing. Like, lately we've been trying to like shift our whole life where we're doing like 10 minutes of cleaning a day, because either we're doing like 2 hours of cleaning once a week or once every other week, or we're doing 10 minutes every day where we're like closing the house. I worked in retail and I worked in food service for a long time. So I'm like, oh, it's like closing. We're like closing for the day and then opening for the day. So like when we close, we throw a load of laundry in, throw a load of dishes in, reset our pillows, reset our this, get stuff going so we could do it in our sleep, literally. And we close the house for the day. And then in the morning, we open the house for the day. We move another load of laundry in, we unload the dishwasher, we get some stuff lined up. And it takes a couple minutes versus like this, like, okay, we got to clean the house now because it's disgusting and we're living in our filth. And like, and then
This is the last straw.
This is the literal last straw on this like pile of garbage that's like balancing itself. But it's like, and it takes up a whole weekend day, which is one of 2 days, which is ridiculous. But like, you know, and it's, so for me, I'm like, okay, we have to like rebalance the scales, but it's not balanced. Some days we spend 5, some days we spend 10, some days it's a 30-minute cleanup, some days we don't do it, you know, but it keeps everything else in alignment too. It's like, oh, the morning goes smoother, the evening goes smoother. When we get home, we feel less stressed out. Like, it just kind of makes everything feel a little bit better, but I never feel like that's going to be perfectly balanced. And nothing ever is going to be completely done, because you're constantly consuming and using and wearing and living, you know, and it's like nobody told us we're going to have to be doing chores and working for the rest of our lives, but we have to find a way to make it fun.
Well, yeah, you got to find out, exactly. You got to find a way to make it work. And I think, like doing what's needed, you know, in the moment is great. And then also thinking like setting yourself up, like your future self. I always say like, got to set like future self up for success here. So like, let me take 5 minutes and do this thing, or let me, you know, work for a little bit longer so I can be okay, but like tomorrow. So tomorrow goes smoothly. It's just like, when do you make those little sacrifices, and when do those sacrifices become too much? And that's I feel like the line of balance. Like when you feel like you're just giving everything, and you got nothing left in your glass, right? Like your cup is depleted, and then you can't give anymore. So I think that's the balance that I'm trying to find. But that's also like, you know, when things are a hell no versus a hell yes, like then just no, we're not doing it. Then you don't have to put it on the plate, and you don't have to feel like it's not serving you or you're sacrificing and it just doesn't align.
Right. I'm trying to get better at that, because I feel like at the end of the last year I was very burnt out. And I keep finding myself at the end of the year burnt out. And I'm like, why do I keep ending up in this like burnt out space? And it's like the lack of boundary setting. Like, and I'm working through that, like people pleasing and like where that comes from. And, you know, it's like trying to work through that, and then also like actively like set boundaries in a scary way where I'm like, I don't want to set this boundary, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it if I'm crying. I'm going to do it shaking. I'm going to do it afraid. But in the long run, it's better. And just saying no to things more often. I know it sounds so cliche, but it's like, if it's a hell no, it doesn't have to be like, hell no, bitch, like I'm not doing it. Or it could just be like, actually, I don't have the bandwidth to work on that at this time. Like, no, thank you, you know? And I didn't know that that was like an option. I didn't know that saying no nicely was an option. I thought it was rude. I thought it would be disrespectful. I thought people would take it personal. in
Yeah.
reality, they just need a response so they can move on, you know,
Yeah.
and it's okay if it's a no. And I've been saying no to a whole bunch of things just because like it's not in alignment, and it's getting easier, but also I'm like, I have more time to do the things that I want to do, but also I'm like working through some burnout. So I'm like, okay, I need to rest. Those are the things
Mm,
that I need. If I need to rest and my body needs to just not do shit, and that's what my body needs right now, that's what we're going to do. Cause that's a hell yes, you
mhm.
know?
Yeah.
But I need to, like, I'm working on evaluating, like, why do I keep ending up burnt out? Like, what is it that I'm doing that's causing this burned out? Why do I get to the end of the year, like October, November, December, and I'm like just wiped, you know? And so it's little things. It's like, oh, eating better, but I need to make the time to eat better. How do you do that? And then learning how to do it. See, I'm seeing a dietitian right now. I've been seeing her for like 5 months, and I don't know anything about nutrition. I literally know nothing. And I'm like, I'm just putting food into my body and eating when I have time, which is usually at the end of the night. It's just not feasible because it's causing physical ailments like gout to come out into my body and express itself. And it's like, ding, 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 you're not doing this correctly. But I didn't
Mhm.
know, you know? So now I have to make the time to educate myself so that I can feed myself better, you know, and all of those little things. It's like, that's taking over all of my space right now, you know, health,
Mm,
wellness,
yeah.
wellness education, you know, and it's not giving me time to be on social or whatever the case may be, but it's the priority right now. So we're unbalanced, but it's to get rebalanced, you know?
Right. Well, I think it's also about taking responsibility for your life. Like you stepped up and said, I don't like this about how I'm feeling and what my body's doing, and I got to fix it. It's not up
Yeah.
to my partner to fix it, or my job to
Mm-mm.
fix it, or my parents or my doctor. Like I got to be the one to inform myself to make this better. And I think like that's it's hard. Like it's hard to
It's
take
adulting.
responsibility. It's adulting. It's hard to take
Yeah.
responsibility. But people are hella adults in their 50s
Yeah.
and 60s and still don't do this. So the fact
Right.
that like you are doing this now and taking
Yeah.
responsibility, and it's huge because
Right.
it's setting you up for this amazing life because you understand the responsibility is yours and you have the power
Right.
to freaking make whatever you want happen. And that's
Exactly.
incredible.
And I feel like I wish I would have known this sooner. You can't go backwards. But
Right.
like it's that responsibility piece. Like I get to reparent myself. Like I am my parent. I am, you know, and I spent my time going like parenting recklessly where we're like McDonald's, restaurants, out to eat, drinking, smoking, binging, up all night, you know, sleeping all day. We did that. We did the adolescent parenting of ourselves. And I feel like I'm at this point in my life where like my body's giving me no other option. Otherwise, I'm going to get sick. And you know, ooh, I think we're a little frozen, but that's okay. Um,
Okay.
we'll give her a couple seconds to reset.
Okay.
Come on, girl. I wonder if I do this, will this fix it? No, I don't want to reload. Oh, it's getting juicy too.
At least it's a cute screenshot.
View. Hold on one second.
Oh, it moved. Your face moved a little bit.
I am?
Just a tiny bit. So maybe
View.
you could just pause this for a second. Now it's resumed. Okay.
I don't see it resumed. I'm scared to reload.
It says recording and it's moving
Oh,
the time.
is it? Is my face is your face moving?
My face is moving, but yours is not. Is my face frozen on yours?
Both of us are frozen on mine. 'Tis the life
Oh.
of live recording. It's all good. Let's see here. See if I can do one quick thing. Sorry, y'all. Gotta just stay cool, calm, and collected.
That's right.
I feel like technology can sense your urgency. You're like, oh, no, oh my God.
Can you turn like the camera off and back on again?
Ooh. Okay, I'm getting a spinny wheel. This is new. We're getting a little frozen. It's giving me like White. We're gonna take a picture because story of my life.
Oh, are we good?
Yes.
Yay!
See, that was a self-parenting moment. I had to be like, stay calm. It's fine. Breathe through it. It's all good.
We don't need to wreak havoc in our bodies and our brain.
Exactly. But I feel like old me would be like, oh my fucking God, we need to start over. We're just gonna scrap it. We're just gonna trash it. We'll start over. We'll try again next week, next year, maybe never. I'm just gonna quit. Like that's how the brain goes.
Go down the train wreck, you know?
Exactly. But here we are. Just wait it out, parent yourself. But yeah, I feel like that's such a huge thing for me right now is just like reparenting. Like, what did I need to hear? What did I need to eat? What did I need to understand about myself and the world around me? And now I'm just executing it. But I love that you said, like, you have the power. You have the power.
Yeah. It's in there. You know, you just got to pull it out. And it's not going to be comfortable at all. Probably. You know, I think people wait for that comfort to come, and it doesn't come. So they just stay stagnant, stay where they're at. But yeah, just knowing, like, finding comfort in the fact that it's going to suck. Like, when I know, like, oh my God, I'm feeling like anxious, I feel terrible, but I'm on the right path. I'm like, that's fine. You know, that's a human emotion. That just shows that I'm doing something newer, that I'm moving into an uncomfortable zone. So I'm happy because I'm distraught.
You're growing.
or you know,
you're
like
growing.
Just changing that mindset of, okay, this doesn't feel good, then it's okay. It's fine. Just keep going.
Right. It's growing pains. They call them growing pains. You know, it's like when you're growing your teeth and like, I don't know if you can remember what that feeling was like or any of those feelings. It's part of the process. And it's just a reminder that you're alive and you're a human and that this is part of the process. And the healing journey for me, so I've been seeing a somatic life coach as well. It's been interesting seeing a dietitian and a somatic life coach. So somatics is like the way that like your emotions get stored in your body. And so like somatic coaching and a dietitian at the same time has been very interesting because I'm working through a lot of like my food trauma and a lot of my like some issues that I have with my body image, especially as someone who is representing women and trying to teach women how to be confident. And it's really challenging that like narrative in me where it's like, okay, do you actually like the way your body looks? Do you actually feel good about this? Do you actually like the way you're feeding yourself? Do you feel good about this? And like working through some of that, some of it has been like extreme trauma that I'm working through and it's been bubbling up and coming out. Is so fucking hard. It's hard. And it's not easy. And like growth is hard, but it's like, if you're in it and you're working through it, like the other side is so rewarding. Like just getting to like, even for me, like I've been meal prepping for these last 2 weeks. And like, if you would have talked to me like 3-4 months ago, I'd have been like, that's a fucking joke. Like me meal prepping, like making the time to like cook healthy food that is like a balanced meal because I know what nutrition I need. Like I would have been like, in like what world is that you? But now I'm like, I'm in love with it. I love going to the grocery store. I love planning out the meals. It's my Sunday activity. I get to hang out and watch my shows and like call my friends and call my family, and I'm cooking all day and I feel like a, you know, like, I don't know, like I just feel like a grown up and I'm like, oh, I get to do this for me and I know what I'm doing. Like it feels so rewarding. But getting from this point of being like, okay, I can't even like address the food that I'm eating every day because I'm like suppressing something else over here, to like being like, do I need to eat this? Is this fueling me? Have I eaten? Like I get to eat this. I get to reward myself with this. Or yes, I'm allowed to eat it. And why? You know, and asking myself these questions of like my nutrition. It's so rewarding. But in the middle of that, like the last couple months, I've been like, this is not worth it. Fuck this. This is awful. This is the hardest thing I've ever gone through, dealing and facing some of these like demons that I have. But now that I'm on the other side of it, I'm like, I wish I would have never, I would do it again a million times over. I would do it again and heal through it again and again and again. So healing is hard, but it's worth it. 100% worth it.
Yeah. And it's like, I'm learning too, because I've been doing talk therapy and life coaching at the same time. and group
Yeah.
coaching. So
Okay.
I'm like, I need all of it right now, because there's certain
Yep.
things that I want to change, and I want to figure out what is going on so that I can move on. But like you said, like it is tough, and these things come up, and some things that you didn't know was there, right? So like you get
Right.
it's up here and now it's in front of you, and you're like, I gotta face it. But then you got to go about the rest of your day, like after that session,
Right.
after that therapy. And it's just like, you have to, like, I'm trying to find out, or I'm learning that there's space that you have to have around these things in these sessions, like not being on social media all the time, not doing these extra things, and prioritizing the healing, and just giving space around it, and not jumping into something right after you have a session,
Yeah.
or like doing something you enjoy after, because it just takes time. Like I've had a hard time like switching my brain, like from therapy brain to now like jumping on a call or going to an event, or like dealing with family. It's just like building the healing space around the healing space.
Yes. Yeah.
You
I've had similar conversations with my somatic coach about this, because like at first, when I first started coaching, I found that like the second I got into my car after a session, I would call someone. Like I would hop in the car and make a call, because that person was on my list. They've been texting me. I needed to give them a call. I like to do my calls in the car because I don't have to, I can just dial before I drive and just talk through, and then it's done. But it was like immediately going from this like healing, working through some suppressed trauma, to like being big sister or daughter or coach or friend or whatever, and not giving myself the time to like decompress. And so like I find so much more now that I'm just like in the car with the sound off, like there's nothing happening, and I'm just like breathing through it. But like my somatic, we talked about that. I was like, I'm finding that like I'm struggling to transition from place to place. And she was like, life will forever continue to happen around you. Like no matter what you're going through. And she's like, it's about finding these pockets and learning these tools to heal, to like create space, whether it's like a breathing technique or like a meditation technique, or like removing yourself from a situation so you can process, and saying no with a boundary, and creating the space for yourself, because you have to parent yourself. You have to do it for yourself. Like you can't have a temper tantrum and then not like put yourself in a timeout. Like I need to be put in a room with the door closed for 45 minutes. That's what I need.
Yeah, because your your parents, right, knew that you needed a timeout, but how do you know you need a timeout? And are you brave and strong enough to take it?
Right, exactly. And it's like working through that has been so rewarding, and I commend you for doing therapy, talk therapy, group therapy, and coaching all at the same time. That's like probably a lot of, you're bringing up a lot of stuff, and you're putting yourself in a situation multiple times with different people to be like, let's process through this stuff. And that requires you talking about it and bringing it up and letting somebody else know, and then having to work through it. So that's a lot that you're doing. So shout out to you.
You too. Doing one form of therapy is a lot. Doing multiple and having coaches, it's just, but you know what you want though, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like, this is what I want, and I'm willing to put the work in to do it, even though it's going to suck at times. Because I think everybody thinks, things are supposed to be flowers, and, we're not supposed to experience these negative emotions at all. And they just try to, suppress them as soon as they arise. And it's like, no, like, can I sit in my car in silence in this unsettled, weird energy I have, and breathe through it?
Right.
Can I just sit there and not just hop on the phone and call somebody, not numb out by listening to music or a podcast, like be in the silence, like it's tough and it's uncomfortable, but there's so much to uncover in that silence that's going to help you grow. And that's what I'm trying to okay, just get quiet. You don't need to fill all of the space with noise and busyness and work. The productivity is in the silence.
Oh, I love that. That was good. I just had we had this young man named Justin. His last name was escaping me, but he did a workshop at Bamboo and he's also like he's like a men's life coach, and he
Mm.
brought up the 5 doctors. So he said, um, Dr. Happiness, Dr. Diet, Dr. Quiet, Dr. Oh God, Movement, and then there was one more, Dr. Sleep. And he was
Mhm.
like, and those are the 5 doctors that'll help you like to true health.
Mhm.
And I'm like, okay, I'm on Dr. Diet right now. Not that I'm putting myself on a diet, but I'm adding foods that are adding nutrients. And it was something that I avoided for so long because I'm like, no, I'm a plus size advocate. I get to eat a donut every single day if I want to, and not like understanding what the consequences of that were. I like literally would do that. I'd be like, I'm going to a shoot. I would justify eating a donut as breakfast. Like that was the breakfast. It was like a donut and a frozen coffee. And like wondering why I'm like so tired. And like, it's like I'm not giving myself any nutrients to work off of. I'm literally putting like zero fuel in my body,
Mhm.
but being averse to it because I'm like, no, like I'm not a diet person. I believe in
Yeah.
body, like beauty in every body shape and body size, but that is not what I'm fighting. I'm not fighting diet culture. I'm fighting the fact that I'm fueling myself with nothing. I'm literally giving myself fumes to run off of. So Dr. Diet is my focus at this time, and it's taking all of my energy, which is great because it's giving me energy.
Mhm. Yeah, and
I
you
love
need
it.
it. You got to have it.
Okay, an hour has passed so freaking quickly.
I
It always
know.
does. It literally always does. But this has been beautiful. I would like to ask you if you had one piece of advice in any realm, whether it's work, entrepreneur, extracurricular, health, wealth, and happiness. What is your last piece of advice for our viewers watching today?
Oh man, I think it's kind of what I said earlier, which is like busyness does not equal or mean productivity. You know, I think I often fill my time with busyness, and I'm learning to find those quiet spaces and that there is productivity and rest, and your body needs it in order to fulfill your dreams. So rest. Don't take rest for granted. Don't just sleep when you're dead. I hear that from, family members and other people and hustlers. You gotta give yourself rest. So busyness is not equal productivity.
I love it. That's my motto for the year. That's my motto for the year. I'm
Yes, we just
owning
got to
it.
follow
I'm
it.
taking it in. I'm embracing it. I'm loving it. It's beautiful. Tiffany, this is so good. Thank
This
you
was
so much.
awesome. Yeah, thank you for
Okay,
having me.
of course. Tell everybody where they can find you on all the things.
So you can find me on Instagram and LinkedIn as Tiffany Wisnieski, and Facebook as well. You can find Twiz Creative on Instagram and LinkedIn with twiz.creative. And yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yay. And where can we see your portfolio of work and painting and all of that stuff?
Twizcreative.com, TWIZ creative.com. Yeah.
Yay. I'm so glad you got your art up there. I can't wait to see what comes out of you next. For no
Thank
reason,
you.
just to enjoy it.
Yes. What can we create? What can we bring into this world
Yes.
just for the sake of creation?
Just for the sake of it. Well, I love and appreciate you so much. Thank you so, so much for joining us on the Let's Glow Show. Everybody out there, thank you so much. We love you. We appreciate you. This has been the Let's Glow Show. My name is Amanda Sweet, the Creative Fairy Godmother, and we'll see you next week. Bye.